All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have done something absolutely insane today. I played Honkai Star Rail 3.1, and while I didn't complete the story, I got through as much as I possibly could have. And let me just say that there is something deeply wrong with this patch. There is something that these devs have, for some reason, not been able to understand about all of the feedback that they've received. There is something that these devs are doing that is just not working. The audience is tired of it. People are frustrated, and the game is quite literally in one of the worst states it has ever been. This patch starts off with a decent amount of dialogue. It gives us a story recap of where we've gone across all of 3.0, all of the big issues that were resolved, the whole storyline with the Titan of Strife, blah, 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 all of that great stuff. And I'm going to be honest, they're able to recap the entire 3.0 story in quite literally less than about 5 minutes. You get all of the essentials. You get everything you need to understand everything moving forward. And it's perfectly 100% right on the mark. It makes you wonder why these devs were taking so long in the first place to actually tell the whole tale. Then you just go through the entire main story quest. You go through a shit ton of dialogue. It takes a lot of time. And then you get through a couple of fights. And believe me when I say that the progression of this quest is one of the most painful in recent memory. And when you consider how awful Amphorius as a whole was, all you can think is, why didn't these devs just decide to listen? Why is it that feedback takes so long to incorporate over at MiHoYo? Why is it that when we're going through the quest, we still have to suffer through bullshit like this? These have to be the worst NPCs in gacha gaming. These genuinely have to be the ugliest models I have ever fucking seen. Why does this doesn't even look like PS2 graphics? This looks like PS1 graphics. It is so absurdly disgusting to believe that a billion-dollar company is not able to afford the quality control or maybe even just the budget to see that these models look like dog shit. This person's hair looks like a solid color. There's 2 skin tones on this guy's back. He doesn't even have skin tones, and all of his clothes look like they're painted on. What is going on with this update? Was there literally no budget to just go in and add just maybe 1 or 2 more polygons to the NPC models? Could they not afford at least 3 or 4 more polygons? This literally looks worse than a PS2 game. It's ridiculous, but that's not even the worst part. That's not even the worst part. Where is his nose? Where is his fucking nose? Who play tested this patch? Why did they decide to choose the one camera angle? We talked about how there needed to be more of a dynamic camera. Sure, they're sort of doing that here. Why did they choose the one camera angle where the NPC's nose is literally not visible? Why? How is it that there's so little care by a game dev that makes billions of dollars a year through gacha, and they can't even playtest the game a single time and just identify, this looks like dog shit. Maybe we should actually change it because it looks like dog shit. But no, this is literally within the first like 20 to 25 minutes of the fucking quest. And this is what you see. Let's be honest here. There's almost no quality control going into Honkai Star Rail. This is one of the most low effort, low budget, garbage looking patches I have ever seen in the history of the fucking game. It is actually genuinely completely fucking embarrassing that stuff like this is being worked on by people. It's being double checked, it's being validated, and then releasing like this. Why are you talking about how you're going to fix the game? Why are you talking about how you're listening to the players, how you're going to make the story more interesting, more integrated, and then just do so many things that take people out of it? And you can't even do basic finishing touches on something as literally small as just making sure the characters don't look like dog shit in the story dialogue. It's not even the cinematics at this point. This is absurd. But guys, it still gets worse. Instead of black screens with white text everywhere, I guess they decided to just go with black screens and dialogue instead. That was the devs listening. The requests from players was that Hoyoverse just simply goes ahead and puts in more custom rigging on the models, makes them capable of more animations, and creates more dynamic storytelling. Because in the past, in version 3.0 and many patches before it, all they were doing was just black screens with white text describing what's going on. And now, instead of actually innovating and actually fixing the fucking game, all they decided to do was just take the black screen and put dialogue over it instead. And this isn't even the only time it happens in the quest. It happens multiple other times as well. We go through some of the combat, blah, blah, blah. We still have an unvoiced Dan Hung, so don't look forward to a good storytelling experience in EN, though My Day's voice is probably going to put you off simply due to the fact that it sounds like he's either constipated or just grunting the entire fucking time, and it's low-key just unlistenable in EN in the first place, despite not actually having dialogue for half the characters. And my oh my, what becomes clear at this point is that these devs are just completely lost. Look how long you're in this dialogue before a fight. You're posting up against this NPC, getting ready to fight. These guys are just talking about how they're about to fight for actually maybe 5 to 10 minutes. They're just talking about how much they want to fight each other, and they just don't fight. It literally is about 5 minutes of dialogue before you get into the fight itself. This is like a fucking Dragon Ball Z power-up scene where Frieza and Goku are just talking about how much they want to fight and destroy each other, but then don't actually fight. They're just sitting there charging up the entire time. And for the player, it's exhausting. It is literally exhausting. You're just sitting here waiting for the climax, waiting for the finish, and they just keep dragging it on and on and on and on. And by the end of it, you just have to believe that these devs are literally just trying to waste your fucking time. They are just trying to amplify your playtime as much as possible. They keep nothing when it comes to player experience top of mind as they're going through and basically just completely disrespecting you as a player. And it's fucking absurd. It's ridiculous. It is actually painful to go through this. And when they're following up with this awful experience after everything that happened in version 3.0 and all of the troubles and all the concerns that players were voicing, it's like the devs just don't want you to play the game. They talked about the fact that they're going to be fixing everything in 3.2. They're basically just saying, fuck 3.1 as well. We didn't schedule any of the updates that we're talking about for this version. You're just going to go ahead and go through hell once again to finish this story. And it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable that for a company that makes this much money, they're not able to just follow through and do basic things. And you want to know what's the worst part about all of this? Nobody else thinks that this game is viewable either. The day after the patch, it released at 7 p.m. or something my time the other day. It is less than 24 hours after the patch has released, and it's at 10,000 viewers. It is at 10,000 viewers on Twitch this game, with myself included in the count. So it's really, honestly, it could be at 9,000. And when you consider the history and the trajectory of Honkai Star Rail in the past, which I'm about to show you, this is incredibly damning. These were the single day highest peaks across patches like Amphorius 2.2, 2.3, 2.1, 2.4. These were at 337k. This was at 32k, 30k, 34k. We had 2.6 and 2.7, which are absolute trash, much lower. And then for Amphorius, we peaked at 30k. Huge downtrend, if we're being honest, for a new version, a new region to peak at 30k. And then it began to just drop down dramatically. All the other patches at least retained viewers for like a couple of days, right? We go from 30k over here, and then we go to 13 or 14k, right? And this is the crazy thing. Do you want to know where this patch, Honkai Star Rail 3.1, peaked on Twitch? It peaked at 23k. Patches 2.6 and 2.7, I could understand them being low because they're either filler, like it was for Rappa, or it was like the very end of the arc, story outerlude, right? Like not really anything crazy for Sunday and Fug You. This is the second patch of Amphorius, where they are slowly advancing the main story and getting into the meat of the actual arc. And it is peaking at 23k. This is quite literally, probably, if we're discounting filler patches, this actually is the worst single day viewer count on Twitch that the game has ever had. And it is very, very, very clear by now. There are some deep issues. It already dropped down below 10K to the 9.6s, all the way down to 8K. Literally 5 to 6 hours after the patch dropped. 23K peak, down to less than 9K, less than 24 hours before the patch dropped. And let's be real here, it's about to probably drop to 9K or lower once people start leaving the section. And oh my goodness, I've got to say, after playing this update, the hate is deserved. These devs don't listen. You can say whatever you want, right? About,
oh, but they said nothing was really going to be fixed in the story until 3.2.
well, guess what? Is the game just supposed to be unplayable for 45 more days? Are people just not supposed to play or watch the game for the next 45 days? Why are people even using that as an excuse? Why are people even going ahead and trying to justify this to any degree? The game is unplayable and unwatchable for the next 45 days, and these devs are just counting the fucking dollar bills that they got from the Tribby banner and telling you to go fuck yourself. They are just telling you to go fuck yourself. Why are people so accepting of this? There's a couple of reasons why, and I'm gonna dive into them right now. The truth of the matter when it comes to the subreddit for this game, and the truth of the matter when it comes to YouTube, right? When it comes to YouTube for this game, is that there are some major problems being promoted by Hoyoverse, and I'm gonna dive into them. First, on the subreddit, you have people being actively censored by the mods whenever they bring up legitimate concerns about the game. Whenever they talk about what's wrong, what's stopping them from playing, what's making things clunky, what's making their gameplay experience worse, they are silenced and then fucking extradited over into this bullshit mega thread that nobody comments in. All of your critiques, all of your concerns, oh, they're just low effort, they're gaslighting, they're trash. Post them in this mega thread instead. Nobody uses this shit. It has 68 comments. It's 3 days ago and it's 68 comments. The mods know that nobody uses this dog shit mega thread, and they force people to put all of their critiques into here, knowing that they will not be seen. This is effectively 1,000,000% just censorship. It is just censorship. And that's why you don't see all these concerns. That's why, despite the fact that the game is failing by every metric, you're not going to see people talking about it. You're not going to be seeing people talk about what makes this patch bad, because all of the critique is silenced and bundled into here and just thrown away, locked behind a door, and then the key is thrown away too. And this isn't it. This is the only place where Hoyoverse is controlling the narrative. They're doing it on YouTube as well. And I'm just going to put in a bit of a hashtag. Hoyo Creator. The Hoyo Creator hashtag is one of the most powerful things for a YouTube channel. What it lets you do, right? Hey, let's just look it up. Tribby Early Access. What the Hoyo Creator tag lets you do is it gives you early access to these characters. You're allowed to post guides before the character even releases. You're allowed to go ahead, right, and talk about how good they are in early access. You're allowed to do all of these things to basically gain an advantage in the content creator space. Let's just look at this, let's just look at a random creator, Narwansi, right? I don't even know who she is. You will never see a single critique for HSR from a channel like this. Do you want to know why? The second you make a critique, that Hoyo Creator contract, that benefit that is keeping your channel alive and is allowing you to reach a greater audience, gain more views, more mind share across the community, that tool will be taken away from you completely the second you start critiquing this game, and the second you start giving actual valid feedback for all of the things that are causing it to actively fucking die. If you actually care about Honkai Star Rail, you would be somebody that's voicing your critiques, trying to fix and trying to save the game, because you would point out everything that's wrong, get the feedback ready to go, send it over to Hoyoverse, and hopefully they fix it. Instead, what these devs do is put you in literal financial bondage, where to sustain yourself in this business, to have a livelihood in Honkai Star Rail content creation, the only way to do it without getting swept away by every other early access guide or every other CC who has early access is to bend over and hope, pray to God that Hoyo gives you early access too. And guess what? Once you're in that financial bondage, once your livelihood depends on the Hoyo devs giving you this access, it's fucked. It's over. You can never actually give valid critiques for the game ever again. Literal golden handcuffs. And so you're never going to see issues plaguing HSR on these channels. The second you see a creator for Hoyoverse with early access, you might as well just understand that it's over. It's over for them having actual valid takes about the game. And it's the most awful thing about this is that there are just so many creators. Hoyoverse has managed to just go ahead, find every HSR CC on YouTube with a voice, and just wrap them around their finger. Hey, we're going to give every HSR CC early access. And so it's basically the same as not having early access. They give every CC early access, so now it's an even playing field for everybody. But the second somebody steps out of line, the second that somebody does something that Hoyo doesn't want them to, yoink, your early access is gone, and now you are miles behind your peers. You have no chance. It is over for you. People thought that the early access program was going to be good. Oh, yeah, they're just going to let everybody be a leaker. They're going to let everybody go ahead and, you know, it's going to, like, they're going to invite more people to the program and it's all going to be super fair. And now that everybody is in the program, yes, it is fair. But guess what? The narrative is going to be controlled. You are not going to be allowed to publish certain types of content. You are not allowed to be critical of Hoyoverse. You are not allowed to critique the patch. You're not allowed to critique the storytelling. You're not allowed to complain about what is going wrong and what needs to be fixed. You're just going to be actively censored, because if you step out of line, it's over for your channel. Just quit Honkai Star Rail content creation. Enjoy your fine. Enjoy whatever punishments you have available. You will never see anything critical about this game from somebody that is in this agreement. And the unfortunate part about all of it, it's not even the creator's fault. You can't even blame any of the creators here, because guess what? If they didn't bend over, if they didn't submit, if they didn't agree to whatever clauses, whatever restrictions Hoyoverse had planned out and ready for them, guess what? Early access gone. Your channel's cooked. You can't really do anything anymore. You're always going to be 1 to 2 weeks behind your peers. And in the content creation space, being 1 to 2 weeks behind your peers is an absolute death sentence for your content. It is an absolute death sentence for your content. And when it's as easy as, well, we're not very happy with the way that your content has been heading, we are going to be removing your access from the early access creator servers. You're cooked. And so imagine how many valid critiques all of these creators actually have. Imagine the type of content these creators wish they could make. Critical overviews, reviews of how bad the patch 3.1 is, but they just literally can't. They're not allowed to. They could do it, but there will be severe consequences for them. And this, the dynamic on YouTube, the dynamic on Reddit with this garbage mega thread and the censorship by the mods, that is what's causing this. Active issues with the game, not being mentioned, being swept under the rug. You just can't talk about this. You're not allowed to talk about this. We know there are big fucking issues with the game, but we just don't want people to talk about this so that they can delay the fixes, delay the updates, be lazy as hell, basically just be paycheck stealing devs. Because let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just be honest here. How do you even excuse this? What excuse is there for this? How is this in a multi-billion-dollar gacha game? How is this something that's actively in the patch? How does this make it through Q&A? There is literally no effort being put into any Honkai Star Rail content. One Q&A tester that just goes ahead and says, this NPC looks fucking stupid, let's fix it, would have solved this. But they can't even afford that. These devs are lazy, they are talentless, and they are scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel when it comes to censorship, excuses, and just measures to ensure that their laziness isn't pointed out. It is actually one of the lowest effort shows I've ever seen from a game that makes this much money. It's pathetic. And honestly, there's just no excuse at all at this point. So with that, I think Honkai Star Rail is cooked, guys. I don't really think there's going to be anything saving it. All these devs and all of these defenders can talk about is, oh, they said they're going to fix everything in 3.2. Oh, they're going to make so many updates to the story. Oh, it's going to be so... Oh, they're going to fix all the character kits. Oh, they're going to do all this great stuff. If they're going to do all of that, why are they trying so hard to silence every single avenue of criticism for the game? Why are they trying to control the narrative from so many different angles when they're supposed to be and when they're going to fix the game? It's so confusing. It's so strange. And all in all, it's gross. So with that, let me know what you all think, and peace out.